Welcome back, students. Now our today's topic under chapter number 10, reproduction in plants, is natural vegetative propagation. In the last class we had already learnt about the three methods of reproduction in plants. Asexual reproduction in plants, that is budding, fragmentation and spore formation. Now the fourth process is natural vegetative propagation. So before starting this topic, we should first of all learn what is vegetative propagation. Okay, so actually you know that basically the reproduction takes place through the seeds, okay, and the spores. Fine. So when the rest of the body, which is normally not involved and not specialized for the function of reproduction, that particular part of the plant is known as vegetative part. Okay, the part which are not specialized in the process of reproduction, that is the seeds or spores. When we will not take the seeds and spores as a reproductive part, means like the rest of the plant part, like the leaves or stem, roots, buds, when we take these parts, then they are known as vegetative parts of the plant. And the vegetative propagation is actually the type of asexual reproduction in which plants propagate to give rise to a new plant through vegetative parts of the plant. Okay, means in which the vegetative parts of the plant are used for the process of vegetative propagation, for the process of reproduction. Like the leaves, when the leaves are used for the production of new plant, when the roots are used, when stems, birds, all these vegetative parts are used for the process of reproduction, then or for the generating or producing the new plant, then that process is known as vegetative propagation of plant. Okay, so there are some structures which are involved in the vegetative propagation, in which the first one is tubers. Okay, there are certain structures which involved in this vegetative propagation. So in this first one is tubers. Tubers are actually the fleshy enlarged underground stem structures which store food. The most common example of tubers are potatoes. Okay, so potatoes are basically fleshy, enlarged, this one is very enlarged, as well as fleshy underground stem. This potatoes grows underground, okay, under the ground, and this is basically a stem. This is a fleshy underground stem. Okay, and in this you know that food is stored, so that structure, this fleshy underground stem which is stored food, they are known as tubers. Okay, now this potato has some eyes or birds like structure. Okay, you might have seen a white colored or pale yellow in color part which starts to arise from the potato when the potato turns old. Okay, so that part, that eye or that projections are known as birds. Okay, that are known as birds. Birds are called the eyes which develop on these tubers, and that birds are only responsible for growing for giving rise the whole new plant. Okay, that complete potato will be converted, will be developed from these birds. Okay, for example, there are some examples of tubers, that is the potato, sweet potato. Sweet potato, you know, in Hindi it is known as shakar kandi. Okay, sweet potato. And dahlia. Dahlia is a flower and it also propagates through these underground stems. Okay, they also propagate through tubers. Now there is an activity for developing a new plant from these tubers. For this, what you need to take is you need to take one of the tuber or a potato and then cut that potato into the two parts. But the part which you want to grow, which you want to sow into the ground, that should contain birds. Okay, that part should contain birds, and then you just moist the soil and observe it for a few days. That new roots and shoots starts to grow, and then it will develop into a new plant. Okay, so these tubers are used for the developing new plant. Now the second one is rhizomes. Second type of structures are known as rhizomes. These rhizomes are again fleshy, but they are horizontal underground stem. Horizontal underground stem. Okay, flashy again like potato, but they are horizontal. Horizontal means in this way. This is means like circular in shape or oval in shape, but these rhizomes are actually horizontal underground stems. And again, means like they also have capable of producing roots and shoots, and then they can give rise to a new plant under favorable conditions. Students, in this chapter you will many times will listen this word, that is favorable conditions. Favorable conditions are those conditions like proper temperature, humidity or moisture. Okay, so that is known as favorable conditions. So whenever this means one of the part of this fleshy underground stem will get the favorable condition, it will give rise to the new plant. Okay, you might have seen and these underground stems are known as root stocks. What we call these underground stems? They are known as root stocks. Why? Because whenever you will see that small roots are there on its whole body. That's why they are known as root stocks. And the examples are ginger, turmeric, iris and ferns. They propagate through rhizomes. Okay. Now, the next type of structure is combs. These combs are actually solid swollen. Swollen means फूला हुआ. ठीक है, underground stem. Again, this is a stem of a plant which is solid. Now, this is not fleshy. This is solid and swollen. Rhizome and tubers are fleshy and means like underground stem. Okay, these are solid and swollen underground stem. It enables the plant to survive in adverse conditions also, as they are swollen and solid, so they can survive in adverse conditions. Adverse conditions means which are not favorable. Okay, in any of the situations these combs can easily survive. Okay, a comb consists of one or more growing parts which can be separated and can be used to propagate the plant. In this combs, one or more propagating parts are there which can be separated out, and then that two parts can easily be used to grow the new plant. For example, gladiolus, taro and tuberous begonias. Okay, tuberous begonias, these are used to propagate through combs. Okay, fine. Now the fourth type of structure is bulbs. Fourth type of structure is bulb. These bulbs are again underground vertical shoot. They are vertical shoot. So underground as well as vertical shoots. Okay, shoots means those who carries plants or leaves. Okay, a bulb can develop into a new plant when roots starts to arise. Okay, if you will see the onions, then what happens in the onions when the root starts to arise and the shoot part is there, so as soon as the roots starts to grow, these plants starts to develop the new plants. Okay, so new plants when roots arose from the underside of the base, and the new stems and leaves from the upper side. Roots from the lower side and leaves from the upper side. For example, onion, garlic, lily and water hyacinth. They have bulbs like they starts to form bulbs and reproduce by forming the bulbs. Okay, now students, one more important fact about these structures is tubers, rhizomes, combs and bulbs, all these are swollen and fleshy because they serve the same purpose but in different way. They all store food that gives the plant the energy it needs to grow, bloom and completes its life cycle each year. That's why all these structures are swollen or fleshy. Okay, so that they can easily store the food. Now the fifth structure is runners or stolons. Runners or stolons, actually they are run through the ground. Okay, they are not underground. These are the horizontal stems that is spread outwards from the main plant. Okay, if this is a main plant, from this main plant they starts to grow and run along the surface of the ground. If this is the ground, then along the surface of the ground they starts to grow. These runners send out roots where they touch the soil. Okay, then time to time they starts the part, some of its parts starts to grow the roots, and then they grow under the soil and the new plant starts to grow. Okay, and sprouts buds on the top. These buds develop into the plantlets from small plantlets and separate from the parent plant. Once they start to develop the plantlet small leaves, then they get separated from the main plant and parent plant, and then they form the independent plants. Example of the runners or stolons are strawberries. Okay, strawberries are basically the runners or the stolons. They can grow along the surface of the ground. Now the sixth part is leaves. Through leaves. Now if you have listened the name of bryophyllum, then on the bryophyllum, on the margins of it, leaflets starts to grow. From these leaflets, if you cut these leaflets and means grow into the soil, then they can again convert it into a new plant. Okay, so in some plants, these buds or the leaflets starts to develop at the margins of their leaves. On these leaves, these buds or leaflets starts to develop, and these buds start forming new plants while still attached to the mother plant. When the leaf falls on the moist soil, when these leaf falls on the moist soil, then these buds develop into small plantlets which grow into the independent plant. Example is bryophyllum and begonia. These reproduce from the buds on the leaves. So students, all these are about the natural vegetative propagation. In these all structures, we had learned that the natural part of the plant are used for propagating or for reproducing the new plantlets. Okay, now our next topic is about the artificial vegetative propagation, in which artificially we will propagate the plant, we will grow the plant. Now it's about artificial vegetative propagation. So you know that the plants are intentionally propagated by vegetative means for economic and other benefits. Okay, when we people try to propagate, try to develop the or grow the plants for economically, for commercially use benefits, so that type of propagation are come under artificial vegetative propagation. Okay, in this various methods are employed. Okay, or we can say various methods are used to do artificial vegetative propagation. First one is cutting. Okay, in the cutting method, in the method of cutting, portion of the plant which contains leaf buds is cut from the parent plant. Okay, suppose if this is a plant and it has leaves. Okay, so a part of the plant which has leaf buds, okay, this particular part will be cut, and then it will means cut from the parent plant, and it is then induced to form roots and shoots by providing favorable conditions like moist soil with sufficient nutrients. Okay, we will keep this particular part of the plant, this cutted part of the plant, into the favorable conditions. The soil should be moist and it should have sufficient nutrients. Okay, so that particular part will be we can say induced to be formed new roots, and then it is beneficial and then it will be grown into a complete plant. Okay, this plant will be grown into a complete plant. This method is beneficial as many new plants can be obtained from a single parent. Okay, single plant in lesser time. Now we need not to wait for the seed to grow into a new plantlet. We are cutting a part of the plant and we are growing it into the soil. Okay, so it can easily grow into a lesser time. Okay, a number of plants including banana, pineapple, rose, bougainvillea, sugarcane, cactus, they can be propagated using the cuttings. So again an activity is there in which we will use a stem cutting of rose which has a node, and then it can be grown into a soil, and then this will again convert into a new plant. Now the next method under this is grafting. Okay, next artificial vegetative propagation method is grafting, in which we will take the two plants and the two parts. Okay, now So in this method of grafting, we are using the two plants. Okay, one part of the plant will fuse with the another part of the plant, in which one plant is selected for the roots, and that particular part of the plant which is selected for the roots is known as stalk, and the another part of the plant which is used for the stem, leaves and flowers or fruits, that particular part of the plant is known as scion. Okay, so one part of the plant is known as stalk, another is known as scion. The scion get essential nutrients from this stalk, and the resultant plant possess the features of both the grafted plants. Okay, means the resultant plant will get the features of this one and this one plant, both the plants. Okay, and a new plant will starts to grow. So what happens in this method, you will take the part of the plant which is used for roots, that is the stalk, and the upper part will be cut in this way only, in which the stem and the leaves or flowers or fruits will be grown. So it will fix in this stalk part. This one is scion and this one is stalk. Okay, now these will be wrapped with the help of bandage. Okay, completely wrapped together, and then they will get the moisture from the outer side, and after some time you will see that a new plantlet will starts to grow by the combination of these two parts of the plant, and a new plantlet will grow. Now grafting helps in producing delicious varieties of mangoes and apples. Mainly mangoes and apples are grown from this method, and the varieties which grown from this grafting method are so delicious. Now the third method is layering. The third method is layering. Okay. Now what happens in this method? It involves plants with long flexible branches, where a branch or a stem is still attached to the parent plant. Okay, now again I am drawing a diagram for this. Suppose this is a main plant. Okay, and then the stems are starts to grow, and they grow likewise this. Okay, and as soon as they come in contact with the ground, they starts to grow the roots, and the new plant starts to grow from it. Okay, so it involves a plant with long flexible branches. Okay, where branch or stem is still attached to the parent plant. It is placed in contact with moist soil, and it encourages to send out the roots. It comes in contact with the moist soil, and which leads to the formation, to the development of the roots. Once the roots starts to emerge, new plantlets are formed. These can be separated from the parent plant and grows as a new individual. Examples are grapes, raspberry, jasmine, okay, etc. These are means like easily propagated by layering. Okay. Now next method is, fourth one is tissue culture. Okay, tissue culture. Now plant tissues have the ability to generate the whole new plant. Okay, the complete new plant can be grown from the plant tissues. So living and actively multiplying tissues are obtained from the plant. You can take the plant leaf, and from this plant leaf part of the leaf can be used, and then this particular plant part are placed in a means nutrients in this beaker or a plate. Nutrients are present, and these plantlets are kept in it for some days. Okay, appropriate amount of nutrients. It is then treated with the roots and shoots, inducing chemicals in the laboratory. Once it develops into the plantlets, now the small plantlets starts to develop from the tissues which we get from the plant part. Okay, and then these small plantlets are transplanted into the soil in the nursery, and then they can be raised into the fully grown plants. Okay, examples are orchids, bananas and chrysanthemums. They are grown using tissue culture. Fine, students. So all these are the methods of artificial vegetative propagation: cutting, grafting, layering and tissue culture. Now our next topic under this is advantages of vegetative propagation. So first one is that the replication of desirable characteristics. Whatever characteristics we want, that characteristics will remain same in all the parts of the plant, on all the plants which will be raised from all these methods, because they are forming the replicas. Okay, same type of plant we will get. Okay, by the time the characteristics will not change. So first advantage is they will be the replicas. Okay, means whatever qualities, whatever characteristics we want in a plant, we will get by this method. Next is early fruit bearing. You know that here we are not waiting for the seeds, so we can easily get the fruits fast. Okay, because mostly it takes lesser time as comparison to the growing of seeds, and then it will grow into a new plantlet. Here we are means like the steps are cutted, and it takes lesser time. Next is lower maintenance. Now we need not to take care too much of the plant, okay, to grow into a new plant. Vegetative propagation reduces efforts required in growing plants, and it simply bypasses the seed sowing stages. Okay, now we are not sowing the seeds and growing into the plant. We are taking the plant part and we are growing the plant. Plants propagate more easily by vegetative means than by the seeds. That's why they need lower maintenance. So students, that's all for today.